We're here with Mary Canady, the president of Comprendia, a life science and biotech consulting firm in San Diego. So tell me a little bit what you do for a living.
So I founded Comprendia in 2008, and I knew that there was a need for small biotech companies or larger life science companies to get the word out about their products and also to communicate with professionals and scientists about what they do. So I founded Comprendia, and at the same time I founded the San Diego Biotechnology Network, which also works towards this end.
Okay. So you're working mostly with the industry side, right?
I do both. So I at conferences such as Science Online, I talk with the scientists and the professionals, and I also have events in San Diego for the San Diego Biotechnology Network, and then I also do consulting work for the life science companies. I build, for example, Web 2.0 applications and do marketing for them as well.
What are you by training?
I have a Ph.D. in biochemistry.
Okay. So what I'm interested in places like RTP or in San Diego where you live, R&D is basically an industry. It's not just in the universities, but we have companies, lots of companies that do it. Large and small companies that do science to find these places. What do you think is the best way to incorporate science going on at these companies in online science writing?
Well, I'm a big proponent of blogs, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, and to talk about the ways that they can be used as a channel of information. And I think that might be one of the best ways. We've worked with companies who have started blogs. We've helped them to get that conversation going. We actually just did a survey of life science companies, and they're mostly using Twitter and Facebook at this point. And I work mostly with companies that handle non-FDA regulated products, so it's easier for them to get away with that. But yeah, so communicating, I would say either a blog or a content-rich website, a Web 2.0 site that offers more than just information about their products, but information that goes beyond what they're selling and offers more as far as meeting the needs of the researchers.
But you're talking about blogs and websites made by the company and populated with content by the company. Okay.
Well, that's also in the survey that we did. That's what they're most comfortable with, but we also asked them how they're going to create the additional content needed, and they really don't have a plan for that. They want their existing staff to just come up with that content. So that's one of the reasons I'm at Science Online, is because I would like the life science companies to consider supporting these sites. And of course it's a delicate balance, because there have been things like the Pepsi-Gate scandal where Seed hired Pepsi to do a blog all about food on the science blog site. So it has to be done very carefully. So I'm being very careful to not say that the company would have control over the content.
Right. So. That sort of goes into my next question. Or traditional media outlets, newspapers, radio, whatnot, there's always been a strict separation between where the money came from and where the content was produced. But of course that business model is in trouble. And so I'm wondering whether bringing in sponsors you write about or who write about themselves is a viable business model for online science writing. And can these companies become sponsors without costing the blog credibility?
Yeah, that's a good point. So we're looking to other examples in different industries, such as food blogging is a very active area, and the food bloggers are able to maintain their reputation but still have sponsors. So that's one area we're looking at. Another aspect that I've seen, and anyone who watches Nova on PBS sees that often they begin with an underwriter, and that underwriter has nothing to do with the content, but they get a lot of exposure by doing that.
An underwriter as in the financial sense, or okay.
Yeah, an underwriter just to show that a company is supports that type of programming. But it's by no means something that we've figured out. We're just realizing, we see from both sides. We see the life science companies saying, you know, I can't tell people about my products by putting an ad in Science or Nature printed anymore. And even when I try to do banner advertisements, nobody sees. And also their brand is getting talked about all over the web, and they'd like to be a part of that, more than just putting out fires.
Right. And especially, you know, as the traditional media is scaling down, not just the science coverage, but also the business coverage. And that is exactly the intersection that makes the economic engine in places like RTP, the Bay Area, San Diego, Austin, Boston. So and just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done. It's just, how do you do it?
Yeah, and I think I had told you about a site called Xconomy that unfortunately doesn't cover the triangle, but they have underwriters as well. But they also, you know, in this separation between journalism and advertising, I've sometimes heard called the separation of church and state, and I think Xconomy, they're somewhere in between that, because and we had talked about before that I have written for Xconomy about my clients, and Xconomy allows me to do that because they have respect for me, but I'm careful to never abuse that. I don't write articles very often about my clients.
Do you think technology could help too, like apps or I don't know, an algorithm to find people who are interested in science? I mean, that's what Google does.
So one of the ways that you could separate the company from what's being written is do something like just show the ad when a certain thing is written about, but have the author not know that ad is going to be come up. But then it's also difficult because people feel as though too much of their information is being taken off the web and used to serve ads to them. So it really is a difficult problem, which we'd like to talk about at this conference.
Okay, thank you.